Oh, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. I just fell asleep here.
It's quite late, Lieutenant, if you don't mind. I've just had a tiresome evening at a lecture, after which I spent some time with some even more tiresome people from the museum, so if you'll excuse me.
Oh, of course. I'll get out of your hair. I'm awfully sorry about this. Did you pick up something interesting?
No, just some insipid watercolors that these people want me to evaluate. That's
Watercolors?
Yes.
I was just looking at watercolors. Matisse, wonderful. I'd love to hear what you had to say about them. Could we take just a moment?
Lieutenant, please. If you don't mind, it's quite late. I'm quite exhausted. Some other time, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, of course. I should have realized. So, I just got so caught up in this art thing that I...
Lieutenant.
Your phone?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Columbo Confab Podcast. This is Steve.
And this is Sean. Good evening, Steve.
Well, good evening, Sean. Is it evening?
It's whatever the listener is at right now. Whether it be evening, morning, or maybe they're shopping at the fashion center. I don't know.
The fashion center?
That's
Is that
where
reference
that's
to tonight's episode?
Yeah, that was, she went to the fashion center.
Edna? That's where she went?
Yeah, Mrs. Matthews. I can't remember. Was her name Edna?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love Edna. Anyway, so tonight, if you haven't guessed what we're going to be reviewing, a character Edna Matthews is in. It's Suitable for Framing, starring the villain or the murderer. Tonight will be played by Ross Martin.
Yeah. Okay, so...
is it Ross or Russ?
Ross. Like Ross Dress for Less.
Oh, boy.
So I can't tell you how many times I've seen this, but...
Really?
I did a Phoebe from Friends moment when all of a sudden I realized, like, earlier, I'm like, oh, I get it. Suitable for framing. Like a picture. And he frames her. It's a pun. I gotcha. Yeah.
He's also an art dealer.
Yeah, exactly. Framing, like you frame
not
pictures.
dealer. He's an art critic.
An art critic, yeah.
I don't want people to hear me make these flubs think I don't do any research because,
Yeah.
I don't live in LA, and so I don't do as much research as I should, apparently.
This will become important later on when we read feedback, by the way,
yes.
folks.
But, yeah, so Ross Martin plays an art critic named Dale Kingston.
Okay, so question here, Steve. Do you know anything about Ross Martin?
Not really.
Okay.
I know he played a character in Wild West or...
The Wild Wild West.
Yes, not the movie, but the actual TV show from the 70s.
Not the sucky 1980-something movie
with Will Smith
and Kevin Kline.
And a horrible rap song, which somehow or another does occupy my mind.
Thanks,
still
Steve.
to this day. And I've never seen the film. I know the song.
Wild Wild West. Oh.
Wiki, yeah. So
I did some research on him. And because I needed no Ross Martin, okay? Because I also wanted to see a video of him in the Wild Wild West in the show. Yeah. And do you know what that show's about? I mean, obviously it's a western, it's set in the West, but
it's got kind of a 1970s Batman vibe where they have gadgets. And...
Yeah, they're kind of like they're in the Wild West. And they're working for the president, President Grant at the time.
Right.
And they use a lot of gadgets and doohickeys, kind of like steampunk. And I'm thinking, that actually sounds really good.
Yeah,
I had to watch him in it, though, because I just wanted to see something where he wasn't a swarmy asshole. I mean, we'll get to more of that in a minute. But did you notice, I think that in all the Columbo episodes, our original victim probably has the shortest lifespan from... the moment the program begins to the moment he's shot.
No speaking role. He's just play the piano. You got the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So very very interesting opening. Like you said, not much time to get to know the uncle who gets murdered. Mm-hmm. Apparently he's an art collector. Very wealthy. Mm-hmm. He lives in one of the 5 only mansions in LA, because I've seen this mansion many times. Even this season, I think this was in Ransom for a Dead Man. I think it's the same mansion.
I think the exterior is. I know. I think is from Ransom.
No, the interior. I was talking about the interior.
Too?
It looks very similar. I think it is.
You'll see it again too, especially in the first season of Columbo. I can think of 2 episodes right off the bat.
Is it whoever owns that mansion cursed? I mean, because Leslie Williams from Ransom. I mean, obviously, she must have sold it. She went to jail. So I guess this guy picked it up.
And he's renting it, actually.
Oh, that's right. He is renting it.
He's renting it. So he must be renting it from, I don't know.
Leslie.
Yeah, from Leslie. And so it's the fucking murder house now. Although it does get a burglar alarm later on when it's later acquired by a lady named Beth Chambers or Chalmers. I can't remember her name. And then, anyway, that's really beside the point.
I don't remember that one. I may not have seen that one now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But anyway, so the opening is great. Actually, I love the actual murder scene. So you see Dale, his nephew, is listening to his uncle play the piano. Grand piano, apparently. That's what they say. And then he looks at his watch very casually. By the way, I love the frilled shirt and in the what kind of jacket? What's that material called?
Yeah, I can.
It's like a pressed velvet.
Like a crushed velvet, maybe.
Yeah. So, anyways, very very interesting attire. But yeah, he looks at his watch very casually. He's just enjoying hearing his uncle play. He just lifts up a gun and shoots him.
And then we get some cool 70s murder music.
Yes. I quite like this part where the camera starts going from like picture to picture to all the where there's an image or a painting of somebody staring as if they had witnessed the murder. I really like that.
It's cool. It fits. It's dated, but it doesn't feel out of place like when they did like in Ransom for with the things that they did in Ransom for a Dead Man. It works. Yeah. It works. And what's so cool is that the first 5 minutes of this, there is no speaking at all. We just see the murder. We see him, quote unquote, burglarizing the house. And it's almost like we know what the motive is just from what he does, because he takes down some of the pictures, but he also spends some time looking at them as well. Did you notice that? Like when he's in the study or the office, he pauses for a moment to look at the picture.
Yes, I did notice that. I thought that was really well done. There's a scene where he's running down the stairs to the first level of the mansion, and a painting catches his eye, and he stops and stares at it for just a moment, and then continues on doing his rampage.
Yeah. And it's almost like they tell you what the motive is before, Elizabeth Sladen shows up, and she says, "Oh, they'll all be yours now."
Well, and so yeah, he wraps his uncle's body in an electric blanket. I'm pretty sure I've seen this before in Columbo. I was not aware of it until watching this program.
Dude, yeah, 5 episodes ago. It's all in the game.
And
Faye Dunaway did it.
Oh, okay. It's interesting. After watching Columbo, I think I am becoming more conscious of how to actually perform a murder and get away with it. I'm not saying that I would ever do that, but it gives you some ideas of how to, like the electric blanket, for example, how to keep the body warm to make it look like it's been alive longer.
Yeah, but what if the coroner that came in to check the body, obviously, if he was laying on his back, his front part of his body would be warm, but his back would be cold.
Yeah, you would think the blood would pool in at the bottom or wherever. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how long that takes, though. I mean,
I wonder if there's ever been a murder. Someone who's been watching shows like Columbo and Murder, She Wrote and what have you, and just like, oh yeah, that's I'm going to use that. That's a good idea.
I've thought about that, and you know what? There's probably somewhere.
I'm sure.
There was a guy that tried it here with the bombs. That's been done in Columbo. Let's see. Yeah, we haven't gotten to that one yet either. But so Elizabeth Sladen. It's not Elizabeth Sladen. She just looks like Elizabeth. Her name is Tracy, played by an actress named.
I was wondering where that. I was looking at my notes. Elizabeth Sladen. I didn't think Doctor Who connection there.
Yeah.
You said it. I'm not in that mode of thought. Go on, I'm sorry.
She's played by an actress named Rosanna Hoffman, who played a sheep in the movie Babe. Fun fact there. Okay.
Wow. I did not know that.
Well, I wanted to do some research for this one, so I really tried to look up what, all these people, were in.
Yeah, but, honestly, if you don't live in LA, you just don't understand the show. How could you? I mean, really. Now, if Columbo was filmed in Austin, then
Oh
you would
yeah,
have some...
yeah.
So did you? I'm just curious there because I think there was some famous. Well, it looked like famous artwork. Not something that was just made for the show. I'm sure it was obviously fake prints and things like reproductions. But did you recognize any of the artwork?
No.
Because you do like art. You actually have art. Yes, you do.
Well, I don't like.
You have a Monet. Well,
okay,
it's not a real Monet, but
it's no Van Gogh. It's or Van Gogh.
Oh, it was Van Gogh. Sorry.
And that was painted. That's not mine. That's Tom's. That was painted by someone on the street in like China or something. Like
nice.
That. Yeah.
Maybe they'll be worth millions in a couple of years.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But you didn't recognize any of the artwork?
There was something that I did recognize because he after he kills his uncle and Tracy, her name's Tracy, shows up and she's gonna set up the alibi. He goes to this party, and I want to talk a little bit about what he does at the party in a moment. But at one point he makes a joke about a painting of either a Greek guy or a Roman guy saying something about his masculinity. Yeah. But that same painting is in the fucking house, in his uncle's house. It's at the on the second floor near the top by the stairs.
Huh.
And I've never noticed that before. Yeah. Yeah, and that's supposed to be that was at the art show by what he
That's what you get for multiple viewings.
Exactly.
So wait, how many times have you seen this?
Oh god, I've lost track. Whenever I would like work from home, I'd play this in the background.
Like double digits, are we talking?
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, but gosh. I haven't sat down and watched it forever. So it's fun doing that, for we'll get there. There's episodes like Try and Catch Me and Playback that I almost know by heart, but this one I don't remember. I didn't remember that much about it. But he goes to the art show.
But Matilda, I did get the last name, has an art show, and it has Mel from Alice as the artist that was displaying his artwork. And he just stands around, drinks champagne, and cracks a bunch of stupid jokes, and everybody laughs at him. It's just so... Oh, you talking about Dale or
Dale.
Frank?
Dale. Okay. It reminded me...
yeah. Go on.
It reminded me of in the movie Dumb and Dumber, where Jim Carrey has this sort of...
That's odd. Okay.
He has this like, if he dates this girl, it'll be like this, and they show him at a party, like with this, sweater on, and they're all laughing. They're like, But there's one scene, it kind of reminded me of Austin Powers. Everybody's laughing at Dr. Evil.
Yeah, Dale is a major douchebag. So I was imagining if I was at that party, one, I'm sure it would be great because the booze would be free, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, he was just surrounded by people that were they were listening to everything he said, just with open eyes and just full of wanted to take in what he said. And at the time, I didn't quite understand why he was so well liked. I mean, because he was such an obvious jerk, and no one, when they would speak about him, like Frank the artist, they didn't really like him, and I don't think Matilda liked him at all.
Oh, they were all just being a bunch of brown nosers.
Yeah,
they were. Yeah, he was so swarmy and oily. I just can't stand him. I don't know if it's Ross Martin that I can't stand, or if it's Dale Kingston that I can't stand.
Well, when you watch the other clips of him in other programs, was the acting similar? Or?
Oh no. I mean, I'm granted. I saw maybe about a minute and a half. Like I saw 40 seconds of Wild Wild West, and then 30 seconds of something else. I can't remember what. but that's not enough to, he just looks like a fucking oily, sweaty, like, I bet you he's got like sweaty armpits all the time, and he sweats, and he's just gross with his bow tie. Ugh.
Wow, that's.
Okay. You know who he reminds me of? Oliver Reed. Oliver Reed. You know Oliver Reed? Dead now, just like Ross Martin. He was. Let's see, what was he in? Oh, it's not important. He reminds me of Oliver Reed.
Yeah, you're meandering off onto another bunny trail. We really shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, somebody might complain.
Yes.
All right, so.
But yeah, so he's the life of the party. The big giveaway, he's always looking at his watch, and he's always asking people, "What time is it? What time is it?" And it's funny because people notice that. Mm-hmm. Like the artist Frank picked up on it right away. That why is he always looking at his clock? Or his watch?
It's Sam. Sam Franklin is the artist's name.
Oh, okay. Right. I want to call him Mel, M-E-L from Alice. He obviously he bottomed out, couldn't sell a painting, and became a cook at a Denny's.
What's her name? Tracy. When the security guy comes
Poor Tracy. I really like Tracy too.
But didn't she
so gullible?
Yeah, she just had she had what would I call it? Mrs. Lysenko-itis. She had "kill me" written on her forehead throughout like the first half of the episode.
Why do these people help the murderer? Don't they know that if you're the only witness, and if there have to be any witnesses, you've got to take care of it.
Exactly.
The murderer's going to take care of it. This is not the first time this happens in Columbo.
Yeah. And we'll talk about her murder scene later on because yeah.
So she stays behind, and she's got to wrap up the electric blanket, and then she's got to fire a gun in time for the security guard to hear it.
And then take off. And she takes her fucking time doing it too. I'm like, hurry up!
Oh yeah, she almost got caught. Well, we find out later. Really, Tracy's not very smart.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah. I liked her, but she's not very smart. I mean, there's at one point Dale says, you got to lay low for a couple of weeks, so don't call me. And I'm pretty sure this is something that happens in Columbo again, where they tell the person, don't call me, lay low for a little while, and they can't resist. They've got to call.
Yes. Yes. It has happened. Yes, I know.
Was it the one? It was the one where the guy travels to, the Bahamas to kill his wife. Oh no, he kills her, and the mistress dresses up like the wife.
Yes, prescription murder, the very first one.
That is prescription murder.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
And they pretend to have a fight in the plane. Run up a nice bar tab. By the way, is it me or does everybody have a bar in their house in this? Did you notice that?
I love that. Yeah. Well, that was back in the day when even in the office you had a little mini bar.
Oh yeah. But even Tracy, poor Tracy had a bar. She's sitting there drinking her premium scotch, painting her ugly painting. So then Columbo shows up and asks a lot of questions about.
Yes, and his questions seem a little more misleading than usual too. It almost sounds like he's just more interested in the painting, and I'm trying to figure out at this point in the episode, is he on to Dale yet? Because he's asking really random, like, why does the artist sign it on one side and not the other? And it's really weird. It didn't seem like the questions really meant anything.
Yeah. Well,
or maybe he just really had an interest in art. I don't know.
He pointed out that the burglar, quote unquote, took down a bunch of paintings, but then took off with the Degas watercolors. Like the kids use in school. Watercolors? Right. No, pastels. Pastels? You mean like the kids use in schools? And Dale goes, no one used watercolors like Degas, Lieutenant. But yeah, I think that he pretty much figures out that it's Dale.
Dale, right? Yeah, and I know that's a question we we propose every episode on our podcast, but I really couldn't tell when he picked out Dale. I mean, he went after Dale. That was his main. He didn't even when the evidence would lead somewhere else, and Dale did a great job. Trying to cover up. It never deterred Columbo. He was on him.
Well,
like white on rice.
It would, exactly. Like fly on shit, and but he knows that he's got it figured out before Dale shows up that it's a fake burglary.
It's inside job. Yeah,
and there you go. That's the word, inside job. And it's when he finds out from Mr. Rogers, the butler. It's not really Mr. Rogers. He just kind of reminded me of Mr. Rogers. That Dale's going to inherit it all. So automatically, instantly, he just thinks, well, it's the most obvious suspect. It's got to be him.
Yes, and I love the butler. He comes up a few times in my notes. But I like that Columbo starts to light up. And every time Columbo wants to light up, where there's a maid or a butler in a mansion, that pisses them off more than I mean the guy was killed is dead. He's not going to care anymore if there's a cigar smoke.
They're always complaining about the cigar. Yeah, I can think of a couple that we already watched where and
it's so hilarious because 2 minutes later, once the butler is relieved and he goes home, he lights up. But yeah, they always hate Columbo smoking.
And I don't know what clues are there. Oh yeah, sounded like a woman running away, which I think was part. Yeah, I think that was part of Dale's plan.
Do you think because when Columbo pointed that out, they went to the back of the house to where the supposed entry was, and that in the security guards. Yeah, it's high heels. I heard high heels. But it seemed like Dale was. Oh no! What happened was Columbo said. When Dale said, "Well, who do you think? Do you have any leads on who you think the murderer is?" And Columbo goes, "Well, I don't think it was a he," and he seemed surprised that Columbo picked up on that.
I think that was the plan.
Do you think? I mean, Dale's pretty smart. Like I said, he does make a few mistakes, like the over obvious looking at his watch. That was a little evident, or like losing the cufflinks. And looking in the trunk to have a witness that someone looked in the trunk. So that when Columbo or the police would follow up, and I bet he knew that Dale knew he'd be the prime suspect. So he did as much as he could so people could see the time and his trunk was empty and things like that.
I don't know if he intended for the security guard to hear a woman running away, but it worked with his plan because his plan was to use those paintings to frame his aunt, the victim's ex-wife.
And it would have been a perfect crime because even if Tracy got caught, I almost would think Dale would deny, saying, "Oh, she went to one of my classes or whatever, my lectures, and she was infatuated with me," or I mean, yeah, he could really screw Tracy over.
Oh.
I mean, he really did.
Yeah.
She was set up to be a patsy from the very beginning.
Oh, man. But her murder scene is so tragic because he meets her like up in a hill somewhere.
Yeah. And
you can tell that she's in love with him because she gives him the paintings and he's unwrapping them. And as he's doing that, she's looking lovingly at him. And I think she actually strokes the back of her head. And about a minute later, he picks up a rock and completely bashes her head in and kills her.
That had to be... I mean, just to have a random big rock right there. Well, I wonder... I did think, did he plant that rock? If he would go through the trouble of planting a rock, why wouldn't he use something else? I mean, it's just convenient, I guess, that there was a big rock right by the trunk.
Yeah, I'm sure if there wasn't a rock, he would have used a tire iron or something. I don't know, but... Just to have somebody do that and act like that and like use her and then obviously
and he stroked every egocentric thing that she had. You're going to be a great painter. I've seen he's just making her feel really nice, and it's just so what a sick like you said, oily kind of personality. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then of course he does set up his well, it's not really his aunt per se, because she's not blood related, but
and she's my favorite character. We got to talk about Edna Krabappel. No, Edna Matthews. She's my favorite character.
Ditzy. She's so ditzy. I like her too, but oh my god, what I don't get is, so they find the gun. I mean, obviously, Dale plants the gun in her, I guess, near the back of her house.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Oh, I was gonna go shopping." He says, "Oh no, Anna, go and go shopping." If that was me, I'd be like, "No, it's okay. I think I should stay here." I can't believe she went shopping after the fact that obvious evidence has been planted. That would concern you, like the gun that killed your ex-husband.
Yeah, I would call my lawyer. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the fashion center," and then he goes to the lawyer, and the lawyer is the one that quote unquote has her paged at the fashion center.
Didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But
and the lawyer's the guy from Cocoon.
Yeah. Don Amici. I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There was a made-for-TV movie. I spent a lot of time spending nights at my grandparents' house, and there was a made-for-TV movie. It was a murder mystery. Don't ask me what the name of it was, but it was Don Amici and Bob Hope solving a crime. And what? I remember it had Peter Lorre in it. And for the life of me, I remember who the murderer was, but for the life of me, I can't remember what the name of it was. It was a made-for-TV, like, the couple old guys, it's comedy. But yeah, Don Amici, I guess he's known for Cocoon, for which he won an Academy Award for that movie.
Did he?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it wasn't for the performance, it was for his career. But we have another Academy Award winner here in this in the cast. It's Kim Hunter, who plays Mrs. Matthews. Do you know what she was in?
No.
She was in A Streetcar Named Desire. With Marlon Brando, which I believe she won the Oscar for that. It may have been, but she was also in the Planet of the Apes. She played Roddy McDowall's.
The wife.
Yeah,
the monkey.
Yeah. Yeah, that was her. All these people are dead now, by the way. I always try to see if there's anybody left alive. Maybe.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Maybe the car guy is still alive. The guy that parked Dale's car, but they're all dead, every single one. The last one that died was Tracy. She was ironically she died last year at the age of 77. But anyway, I'm sorry, why am I talking about this? Never mind.
So the scene where Columbo is just telling Dale about it being a female who committed the murder, or that's a suspicion, they call in this female police officer wearing a skirt above the knee and heels. That doesn't sound very policeman-like, does it? I mean, she was a very attractive
the fact that they called her in just to do that, or the fact that that seemed kind of like, hey, we need a woman, bring her on over here.
Say, hey Sally, can you bring over some coffee while you before you come in?
Sally, I dropped my pen. Would you pick it up? It's not very politically correct, ladies and gentlemen.
And, ladies and gentlemen, there is nudity in this episode.
There is? Where? When?
So, when Columbo's trying to determine Dale's alibi, he goes to see...
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, that's right.
He goes to see Matilda and the artist, what did we say his name was, Sam?
Sam.
And he's painting a nude woman. And in my mind, I remember you telling me that Peter Falk later in his life got into painting naked women. I was wondering if this started that idea in his mind.
I did. Maybe he wasn't doing this at this time, this early in the series, but he was obviously an amateur artist for a while, and he would make pencil drawings of the extras and the people working on the set. And there were some pencil drawings on the wall behind the artist in that scene.
Oh.
And I just wondered, perhaps, maybe.
I bet. Do you think he was doing? So he was doing it because this is the first season. Do you think he was doing it that early on in his
I don't
career?
know. I have no idea. But also, I didn't realize this until I watched it for this, is that the painting that the artist is working on is the pink cactus painting that the lady was complaining about at the party because it wouldn't match something in the bed. So they basically bought the painting and then paid him to paint the woman in, because he was like, I'm here under duress, and Matilda's like, oh, this is for commercial. Anyway, I just never noticed that
I didn't
before.
pick up on that at all.
Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, we discussed earlier that Columbo identifies Dale as being the murderer right off the bat.
Yeah. He's got it all.
But I love the conversations that they have together, where Columbo will ask his innocent question, and Dale is always trying to be 2 steps or maybe more ahead of Columbo, and he's trying to throw him off.
Yeah.
And I like the when Columbo visits him at a TV studio.
Yes.
Which, by the way, Columbo in a TV studio, bad news. Amazingly, nothing fell, nothing broke during these scenes. I wish that was a running gag, but anyways,
What he said. Yeah, I do have a question. We briefly see Dale, talking to the camera, and he says something about Greco. He's the penultimate artist. I don't know what that means. I mean, the ultimate artist, but penultimate means second from last. I don't know.
I did. Oh, huh.
But yeah, that scene is Dale has just got. He thinks he's got Columbo wrapped around his little fucking finger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But Columbo's in reality 2 steps, and this is like most of the episodes anyway. But it's especially obvious here because Dale is such a fucking douche. He just.
What is it when Columbo says something like, "Well, that somebody might try to fence these paintings," and Dale's like, "Yeah, I guess so," and he goes, "Well, you're probably the kind of person they would fence it to." And he says, "I tell you what, we're gonna have your phone bugged." And the reaction on Dale's face was priceless.
Yes.
Wasn't expecting that.
Just for like a split second. Yeah. Because he knows his girlfriend is
he can't say no.
Yeah.
Columbo kind of puts them in a corner.
Yeah.
And if they were to say no, he'd be like, "Well, why not, sir? What would be the problem?"
But the scene in the TV studio, first of all, has my favorite line, which is, "I'll use high-speed turpentine." But there's also... Yeah. I don't know why I remember that so well.
I don't know why you did that accent either. High-speed turpentine.
Anyway, it's just the way she says it. So he has this conversation with Kingston about, Dale Kingston. I know we've been calling him Dale because we're BFFs with him, I guess.
Apparently.
About how it couldn't have been him, obviously.
Well, he's so personable at parties, and
yeah,
he's gonna inherit all this money. You really want to get on his good side. And he's got a TV show.
Yeah,
which, by the way, is called World of Art.
How original! Ooh, yeah, that's original. I'd tune into that. There's only one person watching that, his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Sitting at home sipping cheap whiskey.
Yeah, after she's dead, they're like, "Where did our viewing audience go?"
It's probably the type of show that would be on, at 1 a.m. on Actually, you know what? I used to when I was in school, in college, and I was studying television. I actually worked for I worked for a small public access show that was done by an art critic, an art collector, much like
Bob Ross.
No, his name was Art. His name was Richard Love. That is a true story.
Richard Love.
This
is he played by Jerry Lewis?
No, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know what that means. Anyway,
the Nutty. Oh, go on.
Anyway, so he first episode that I worked on, I showed up at the studio. He was there interviewing Martin Mull, and for about I'm the brand new intern. My nose is wet. I'm green. Whatever.
Oh, you got trouble.
They're finished. I don't know if they were done. I think it was before they did the episode, before they filmed the episode.
Did you walk in on a hot set?
No, I didn't walk in on a hot set. But for about 3 minutes, I was standing in a room awkwardly with Martin Mull. And to this day, I regret not going up to him and talking about Clue the movie. Because, of course, he played Colonel Mustard in
Right.
Clue the movie. So,
Interesting. What a neat story.
Yeah, see?
Sorry, I'm giving you that. No, that is cool. Actually, that is
It
really
is,
cool.
but it's not a story that somebody from LA would tell.
No, not at all.
So, I don't know what happened. Oh, he kills Tracy. He takes the paintings from her. Oh my gosh, yes. One of my favorite scenes. Columbo talks him into giving him the key to his apartment.
Yes, I love this. This is at the studio. He's like, well, and he kind of, you know what? It's Dale that gives up the key willingly.
Uh-huh.
He's just like, oh, can I come by? I have some questions. And Dale's like, well, obviously you suspect me and you want to see how I live and what kind of person I am. He goes, here's my key. Just take my key. As if, you thought Columbo would call his bluff. And he did. He took the key. He's like, okay, I'll come in. I'll just take a few books. And
then after Dale's done murdering a girl, and that he returns that evening, and Columbo is asleep in the chair with books all over his lap. But and then there's the part where Dale almost gets caught with those paintings.
Almost.
Yeah.
Well, it's the big clue. It's not the clue, but it's
Killer
the
clue.
It's the one thing that's going to put him away.
Yeah.
Which I love. But anyways.
We'll talk about that.
Columbo's just sleeping in his home.
Yeah.
In his living room. I don't know if he really was sleeping. I think he's faking this whole time.
Why would he? Well, okay. At this point he has. Well, yeah, that's true. He probably figures that Kingston has an accomplice, and it's probably a female accomplice. And then so.
Yeah, Dale comes back with this, I guess, this special briefcase for holding artwork, and it's the stolen pictures. And Columbo, because he wants to see this art, because what does he say? He says something like, he says, "What do you have there?" or something. He goes, "Oh, some watercolors that someone wants me to give my opinion on." And Columbo says, "Oh, I was just reading about watercolors. Can I look?"
Puts his hand in there,
and Dale's like frantically trying to figure out how to get out of this scenario. It's funny.
Yeah, it's a great scene. And then I think about 20 minutes go by of nothing happening in the story. Although I may be wrong. The reading of the will.
Yes.
It turns out that he's going to inherit after all. That the paintings are all going to go to the ex-wife.
Yes, and so the lawyer wants Columbo there for whatever reason, and Columbo is legitimately shocked that Dale did not inherit. As a matter of fact, didn't inherit anything. He inherited the house, but like you said, that was a rental.
Yeah.
So he inherited zero, basically.
Uh-huh.
And that throws Columbo back. But we found out later that's all part of the plan.
Yeah, and so then they find the gun, and they all have drinks at Mrs. Matthews' house because she has a bar and she apparently likes drinking.
Well, that's why she's so ditzy. She's probably drunk. You know what? I when the scene where the lawyer calls her in from her shopping, and you see her pull up in this big Buick.
Oh yeah,
and she's not an old woman at this point, but she's obviously ditzy, and I know I've been behind people, these older women on the road driving these huge Buicks. She was probably scary on the road.
Yeah, you can tell by the way.
I know you don't know this. I don't know if you know this or not, but I don't live in LA. But I have experienced LA traffic, and it's scary by itself. I cannot imagine.
And that's saying something because you live in Dallas.
Oh, it's gotten crazier.
Really?
But that's something else. Dallas driving's horrible.
When she gets behind the wheel of the car, this is the way she's poised. She's got both hands on the wheel, and she's sitting upright, like almost on the edge of the seat. Like
she can barely see over the wheel.
You know who she reminded me of? She reminded me of Mrs. TV from Willy Wonka, Mike TV's mom. Who I don't.
Yeah, is it the same?
No. That actress.
Actor, I mean.
No. This one in Columbo was Kim Hunter. The actress from Willy Wonka was a lady named Dodo Denny. That's her actual name, and she turned down the role of Edith Bunker to be in that movie.
What? Oh well, I
don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Both are great.
Yeah, but you could see her as Edith Bunker, couldn't you? Like, yeah,
definitely.
So I do want to make one observation. Did you notice that in Dale's apartment he had like the ugliest art?
No, I honestly didn't notice that.
Terrible looking. Anyway, let's see what else. Okay. So Columbo figure.
Just to let you know, Kim Hunter is dead, by the way.
Yeah,
just looking at her IMDb.
She died in 2002. They're all dead. There's not a single living person in this episode.
That's dark. Even the girl who played Tracy, she's not.
She's dead. She died last year. I said that earlier.
Oh.
Yeah, all dead. I do that when I look at these. I want to see who's dead and who's alive. It's really kind of depressing.
Yeah.
And then
that's very sad.
Then I have to tell myself, no, it's okay, Sean. This was made even before you were born. So that's the way nature works.
Yeah. No, and it's crazy. I didn't know she played the female monkey. But yeah. I can't think of what that character's name is.
I don't know. I just remember Cornelius was the Roddy McDowell, but
who apparently would drive around L.A. in makeup. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
So I guess he thought it was funny. Once filming was over for the day for the shoot, and he would drive home in the monkey makeup and wave at people on the road. I don't know where I heard that. I think it was like a Johnny Carson interview or something like that. But
that sounds like a Gilbert Gottfried interview. A fact that would come up for that. So there is this scene where Columbo goes to the dead girl's landlady, and
yes, I almost forgot about that. Let's talk about the landlady.
There's nothing wrong with this scene. It adds nothing to the plot whatsoever.
Nothing.
It's a funny trail, but
it's another Time Daily.
Yeah. Oh yes. And this for being a shorter episode. Like an hour and 10 minutes. Back to. It's got a lot of padding in it. And this is part of the padding. Is this with the landlady? Did you recognize her from anything?
I know I recognized her. Was she on Bewitched or something? Is that? No, I did recognize her, but I couldn't tell you from what.
She was in Sister Act.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean,
I think, however, that Matilda was in Bewitched, but I never really watched that show, so I'm not sure.
But yeah, so let's talk about the landlady. So one of the weirdest thing that came out of her mouth was, the Columbo's trying to figure out, did she have any boyfriends? Did any dates come by? Surely no. That's really nosy. Would you think if you ever lived in an apartment, that your landlord or your landlady would be watching your every move when a guy would show up? I mean, would they even care?
Yeah. You
think?
Yeah. Not nowadays, no. But if you lived in a smaller apartment with a smaller apartment house with only like 3 or 4 units, yeah. Because my grandparents, they would get up and look out the window every single time someone parked their car in front. They wanted to see, so and so's home. I don't know who that is. Oh, they've got a black baby. What's going on?
Tracy's dating a black man. Oh no. No, I'm fine with that, by the way. I'm just saying for the time.
And that's actually something my grandfather said one time. Oh, they've got a black baby. What they got a black baby for? I'm like, seriously? Could you just try to pretend not to be racist?
So the line that the landlady says, it's like, Oh no, she wants to. So yeah, so she does have some photos of an older gentleman because he was in the background of a photo while taking pictures of her nephew at the poolside.
Yeah.
What? What was that? Pedophile?
No. What's so wonderful about the scene is that when she sits down and she opens up the photo album, she starts talking about, oh, isn't that pretty? That's the time that we went to the family plot. We had a picnic. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, there's Stanley. There's Stanley.
Yeah, she's talking about her family, and I'm thinking Columbo's going to get back all the times he rambled on about his nephew or his brother-in-law, because every time he does that, the suspect always rolls her eyes. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't want to hear about your stupid brother-in-law again. So she's getting it. And he's even annoyed.
Yeah, you could tell he's trying to be really patient, sitting there.
And of course, the photo that she has, she finally finds it after going through 10 pages of this photo album. It's not the right guy.
No.
So there's no reason for the scene.
Turns out that Tracy had been dating Mark Hamill the entire time.
That looked like Mark Hamill to you?
To me, kind of. Blonde guy. I don't know how she could be into Ross Martin if she was dating men like surfer dudes. And beach guy. She said beach guys are actors, and she was into Dale Kingston, swarmy art critic, with his fucking bow ties.
Snobby.
God, his ties were hideous.
So let's go back to the reading of the will.
Okay.
So Edna, she gets the artwork. Basically, what of value from the guy who died. Her ex-husband, by the way. So I think her relationship is that she's not married to him, but they either were separated or were divorced.
They were divorced like 10 years ago. She tells the lieutenant she was interested in Italian men, and now, but they just the last couple of months they started becoming close again.
Right. He became softer hearted. I think he was kind of a rigid. He was probably a jerk, just like his nephew. Hoarding art. But she said she finally turned him into a human being, and he was going to donate the art to universities and schools and museums so everybody could enjoy it and not have it hidden away. And that was kind of sweet. That was a sweet scene. But yeah, so
I'm sorry. I'm going to say I think it's interesting that we learned so much about the victim, despite the fact that he had literally 3 seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Edna. The uncle and Edna, they start building another relationship. They've kind of mellowed out. He's mellowed out. She's done with all the partying and whatever she does. And
Italian men.
Italian men, and so they were building. Yeah, and so I don't know who the guy who got killed. I don't know what his name was. The uncle is what I'm going to call him.
Rudy Matthews.
Rudy. Yeah, you're right. It is Rudy. So Rudy decides he's going to change the will 10 days before the murder, right? And that's how I think Columbo starts figuring out. So he changed it was all going to go to Dale, but he changed it 10 days before the murder. But when Dale found out that Edna was going to get all the artwork, that's when he started plotting his death. But yeah, so Edna gets the artwork to distribute. The butler and his wife, I guess she's the maid, you know what they get? They actually get something.
I remember what they get, yes.
They get $2,000 a year.
Yeah. And they're so excited.
And he's so generous. Now, I don't know what that equates to today. But is $2,000 a lot of money back then? I mean, the guy was wealthy. Yeah. $2,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
He spent how much on a pair of paintings? Dale was telling Columbo.
At least $50,000 a painting.
Yeah, well, it was like $500,000 for both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, for I think the ones that were stolen.
Yeah.
So $2,000 a year. Okay. Well, actually, it's not that bad. So $2,000 from 1971 in today's terms, with inflation, is $12,388.
That's not a lot.
It's not bad either.
That's no. That's like working at McDonald's.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't live off that.
Well, I guess they got their Social Security too, but.
Well, suffice to say, yeah, they didn't get paid. Probably what they should have. But I mean, he only had 3 people to, give his money to.
Yeah. So Dale plants the wrapping that he used to wrap up the paintings, or I'm sorry, the watercolors or the pastels or whatever they were. He clumsily plants them in her garbage outside. Okay, which is too obvious. Okay, Columbo even figures that.
Yeah.
That's just too obvious. And there's a scene right after they find that where they're outside, and Columbo's saying, yeah, I'm not going to bother searching the house. We don't need to search the house. There's no need to search the house. I'm not going to search.
She wouldn't do it. She's not the type. Yeah.
And he knows. He knows that Dale is going to plant those paintings on Edna, because that's how he's going to be able to get all of the whole art collection. So Don Amici then shows up, and they all have some drinks at her bar there in her living room. She has it straight up. He has it with ice. Dale has it with ice as well.
Interesting thing to write down in your notes, but okay.
I don't know. First of all, I couldn't help it. I think the only person that didn't have a bar in their living room was a landlady. So they're all hanging around drinking, and that's when the police show up and they search the... Oh, wait, no! There was something that bothered me tremendously.
Oh, the exterminator. No.
Oh, no. Oh, wait. Going back. The exterminator. That's right. The gardener. So, have you ever watched Twin Peaks?
God, not in a long time.
Okay. So, the guy... Have you ever watched the movie Eraserhead?
No.
Do you know any visuals from the movie Eraserhead?
Yes, the poster.
Yeah, that guy is the gardener. His name
really?
His name is Jack Nance. He was in Twin Peaks. He's the one that, if you remember, he says, "She's dead, wrapped in plastic." He's dead now. He was murdered in a parking lot, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
He was murdered? Really?
Jack Nance is his name. Yeah, he was in a few David Lynch movies, and then he got bumped off. There is something that drives me crazy. So Edna decides that she's going to go shopping at Fashion Center, right. And Dale follows her there with the paintings and plants them in her packages that she has in her car. Does Edna not lock her car?
Right? I think she's so scatterbrained, maybe she just doesn't worry about that. But if she doesn't lock her car, he could have gone into her, while she's having her meeting. Maybe he was worried that Columbo was having the house watched. So maybe, I was about to say, why couldn't he just go to the house?
That's true. It was a good way to get...
Because Columbo has done that before. He has planted detectives outside of a home.
Yeah. So that's the way that they get the paintings into the house, so he can then make some excuse to go to the bathroom or whatever, plant the paintings in her linen closet, and then the police show up and find the paintings and probably...
Well, the lawyer calls on his contacts at LAPD to have the search done, and they convince Edna this is for your best. It's just going to take you out of the running for the murderer, because they're not going to find anything, and then they're going to drop you from whatever. But Dale knows, obviously,
yes,
not that at all. But yeah, so this is outside of Columbo. This is going above him, which I always love. Anytime somebody goes above Columbo, it's certain doom.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Columbo shows up at the house, and he's got his hands in his pockets.
Right. I didn't even notice this the first time I watched it.
Really?
No, I didn't notice that. He just seemed like he was just like, I don't understand why he's playing stupid.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the search, how this got done without going through me first. But I love it when the captain who's there doing the search, and Dale asks the captain a question, says, are you going to prosecute or whatever? Are you going to arrest Edna? Because he's still playing the game. And the captain turns to Columbo and goes, it's his case. It's up to him.
Yeah, and then...
I love that. It's like you're asking Columbo's superior, but the superior, I think, did the right thing by saying, I don't know, it's not up to me. It's not my case.
And they find, and yeah, Dale's like, what the fuck? And in the upcoming scene, okay, well, the paintings are found, and they're checking them for fingerprints. And I think there's a wonderful moment here, and this is the actor Ross Martin, and this is just Columbo in general, where when he gets caught, he slowly loses it over a matter of about a minute and a half. You know, he acts pissed off because he doesn't understand what they're doing. And then they're like, well, we're checking these paintings for fingerprints. And he goes, well, don't be silly.
Yeah, my prints are all over that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And then Columbo says, we're not looking for your prints. We're looking for mine. And then Dale loses it. He I love this. Fucking loses it.
One of the best. It's not a reveal, but it's
a gotcha moment. A great gotcha moment. Yeah.
Oh, it's like one of the best.
And he says,
absolutely.
Oh, he just loses it. You're like, oh no, you're looking for my fingerprints, for Columbo's fingerprints. You remember? I touched them?
No. What happens is Columbo is hovering over the guy powdering the paintings. And Dale goes through his explanation. Well, my prints are all over it. I helped my uncle unwrap them from the museum when they came back. And Columbo was like, your fingerprints? Yes, my fingerprints. Your fingerprints? Oh, no, sir. We're not looking for your fingerprints. I love it. Love that line. It was great. I'm clapping like...
You're looking for mine. Oh, remember when I was at your place and I put my hand in there and I touched those things? And he goes... Dale's like, you touched them? Oh. He's just got this quivering look on his face, like, this is going to be it. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is the end. All of my planning has gone awry. This is the moment.
But at one time, so if he would have laid low and kept Tracy alive, I don't know, Columbo, I think, would have still caught him. But, that's where he screwed up. That was where he made all the planning and everything he did all bad.
And he says, well, this is entrapment. You touched those paintings. Didn't you see it? You touched them. And then the final shot of this is wonderful. Is just Columbo pulls his hands out of his pocket and he's wearing gloves.
Yes, I loved it. Awesome. This is really one of the best.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best endings of any Columbo ever. It's really good. It's not my favorite. It's one of my favorites, though. And it just after he pulls out his hands, it's just freeze, roll credits. That's it. We got you.
Mm-hmm.
You're done. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So let's go and review this. All right. So I'm randomly picking a number that was displayed in this episode. I like doing this. As opposed to let someone didn't like. They like a nice solid 1 out of 10 or something. But I'm going to say 1 out of 6 because 6 was the house number to Dale's little studio apartment house thing.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So 6. 1 out of 6, Sean.
So 1 out of 6. Let's see.
Not much room to.
It's. I'm gonna give this. You know what? I'm gonna give this a 5. I'm gonna give this a good, soft 5. I love the ending, as we talked about. I loved Dale Kingston. Well, and when I say love, I mean he was a really good Columbo murderer. I mean, he was just so fucking oily and swarmy and just. The gotcha moment, of course, as I said. However, I think it's really padded. The scenes in the lawyer's office don't need to be there. It seemed like Don Amici was just sort of an add-on, like, hey, we got Don Amici on the show. There's a scene between Dale and the lawyer in the lawyer's office that doesn't need to be there, where he's talking about how Columbo's pestering his aunt, and of course there's a scene with the landlady that doesn't need to be there, but that I like anyway. It's one of the few shorter episodes I think that's padded, and that's why it's not a 6. Because other than that, it's and you know what? There's also not a lot of good clues other than the ending.
Yeah.
So
So you give it a 5.
You know what? I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Wow, you talked yourself down.
I talked myself down. I'm gonna give it a 4 because
Oh my
I
gosh.
like clues, and this didn't have a lot of clues. It had a great gotcha at the end though, and yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. It's a very it's like a 4.7. It's a hard 4. So yeah, how about you?
Well, let me tell you what I liked. I thought Ross Martin as Dale Kingston was amazing. I know we were talking about how slimy and oily the guy was, but that's the acting. I mean, the guy was a perfect villain. You really wanted to see him get taken down because he just deserved it. I mean, it is just there's times when you feel sorry for the murderer or maybe you sympathize with him to some degree. This guy, there was not a single lovable thing about him. He was setting up a poor young girl, setting up his aunt, and just manipulating everybody. And obviously, he thought he was, and you could relate it to him being like an artist of manipulation. I mean, that was his canvas. He was just a slimy jerk, and I think Ross Martin just played it perfectly. I haven't seen him in anything else, but this was amazing. I thought it was really well acted. I'm sorry, you were going to say something though.
It's almost, since this is the first season, it's so interesting how he actually gets it down pat without having seen Columbo or be that familiar with the Columbo formula.
Yeah. I think that speaks to his acting ability. I think he's just amazing. After watching this, I do want to see him in other things. So, I mean, bravo. I thought he was fantastic. And probably the reason I'm going to give this the score I'm going to give it is really because of Ross Martin. But some of the other things I liked. I didn't mind the padding, so to speak, in this episode. Normally that does bother me. But the thing with the landlady, it was just kind of like character development for Columbo. Just seeing him work. It didn't provide any additional help in solving the case. But it was just funny. So I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that scene. What else? Oh, one other thing about Ross Martin. I would always get him confused with another actor of the same time frame. Larry Storch.
Okay.
I always thought they were the same guy for some reason.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, Larry Storch
I don't know why
is in another episode of Columbo, by the way.
Is he? Have we
Yeah.
seen that one?
No, we have not seen it.
But
No, we have seen it. We have seen it, but we haven't done it for the podcast.
Oh, okay. But he always reminds me, those two actors, I get them confused a lot in my mind. Same time frame, 70s. I learned something. I learned that if you have aphids in your garden, just water them early enough in the day before sunset, and that'll take care of them. Good to know. But seriously, I really enjoyed this episode. I loved the gotcha moment that we discussed. I thought that was perfect. So I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 6.
Wow.
This is the second time I've watched it. Now, so maybe you've seen it more times and you picked up on more of the nuances, but man, I love it. This is one of my favorites. I love this episode.
I'm going to agree with you a whole 100% about Ross Martin, and I'm going to ask you what's really fun is to try to compare murderers and how they react differently with Columbo. Do you remember? We haven't done this episode for this podcast, but I know that we've both watched the Bye Bye Sky High IQ murder case.
Oh, we haven't done that one? Okay.
Well,
that was my introduction, by the way, to this show. By the way,
compare that guy with this guy. They're like, or Abigail Mitchell to this guy. I can't think of. Okay, I think that this guy. I'm going to compare him to I can't remember the kid's name from Columbo Goes to College, the dark-haired kid.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was so bad. And I never even realized it. I think you talked me into it, but that he was the brains behind the whole operation.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
No, he wasn't anything like Abigail. No, that's like the furthest. With Abigail, you felt for her. You felt sorry for her.
Yeah, or
she would not have done that if she didn't love her niece so much. But,
yeah.
But this is the opposite. This is an uncle and a nephew, and the nephew hates the uncle, and he kills him.
Yeah.
He's upset that he was willed out.
Yeah. And he looks
a great
like,
episode.
He looks like
nonetheless.
Roy Orbison when he wears sunglasses. Okay. Before we spin the wig and wheel of the 90s, I am going to share some feedback.
Yay! I love feedback, because this is the time when we can see what we do really good and what we do really bad. What do people have to let us know? So I love feedback. It gives me hope. It makes me want to live another day. I'm looking forward to this. Let's listen to some great positive feedback.
Okay. Well, hate to burst your bubble there, Steve. But let me tell you, somebody, let's see, his name, this is about a week ago, this is left, by Ing Lit Guy. He left us a 2-star review on the iTunes podcast app.
Like 2 out of 3 or something?
No, 2 out of 5. And he entitled it, Wandering and Boring. All right, so I'm going to read this, what he said, because he did not write a book, but he just didn't leave, He says, these guys, and I say it's a guy because he says that it's in the name. Anyway, these guys need to be a little less pleased with themselves and do a bit more research even on basic things.
Ow. So what do we do? Is it? I guess, do we come off like we're doing a circle jerk?
Or jerking each other off. I don't know who Ross Martin is. I don't know. There is an odd tone of constant derision for pretty much everything on a given episode, followed by an assertion at the end of the podcast as to how much they love the show.
Yeah, that's spot on, I would say.
So like if we're going to make fun of somebody's tie or, the ugly wallpaper or the furniture, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be whatever. I'm not going to. Could be a generational thing, but it's tiring all the same. Like most of the podcasts of this nature, this is yet another. Okay, so I think he's referring most of the podcasts of this nature. I think he's talking.
It's only like 2 others.
Yeah. This is yet another from folks who neither know L.A., the 1970s, or apparently police procedurals from that era.
Okay, we're talking about a TV show here, all right? Police procedures from the 70s in LA.
I don't really know any police procedurals other than CSI, and I don't know anything about them. Do we need to know about that? Is this the police procedural?
Well, I mean, the thing about not being from LA, I mean, really?
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps we should...
Does that really make that big of a difference?
Yeah,
I'm not real sure if you're from LA. What, we don't recognize a location? I mean, I'm trying to think. What's the positive of being from LA?
I don't know. But what this means, Steve, is that we have to stop recording right away and do a Dallas.
Move to LA.
Do a Dallas podcast, or maybe a Lonesome Dog podcast or something. Oddly, the Scottish Columbo podcast is better researched. Why is that odd? Oh, because they're Scottish, I see.
They're not from LA.
Oddly, the Scottish Columbo podcast is better researched and shows more appreciation for the television series.
I believe that.
If you like constant... Oh, this is my favorite! This is the end. If you like constant sarcasm and wandering asides, you may like this.
Like reading of this feedback? Yeah.
Okay, so this gentleman actually...
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Now, he also left almost exactly the same review for the Just One More Thing podcast earlier this month. But he gave them only 1 star.
Right in the middle.
Oh.
Awesome.
And they're not from LA either. So,
and what I like about feedback like this, well, one, it kind of, we get to make fun of it, but odds are this guy's not listening. Yeah. If he is, then he's a masochist. I mean, he's just he's just abusing his ears. But the thing about that is, he could do it. Why doesn't he make a Columbo podcast and show us how to do it? When you and I first started doing podcasts for Doctor Who, the reason I wanted to do a Doctor Who podcast because at the time there weren't that many Doctor Who podcasts that I enjoyed. I was annoyed with them. I didn't think the right format, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the podcast I want to hear. Mm-hmm. Well, sir, please make a podcast of Columbo that you want to hear. And if people like it, they'll listen. And I think we'll welcome anybody to come into this because there's not that many Columbo podcasts. There's not much competition. Yeah. Unlike Doctor Who.
Yeah, I don't want nobody wants to hear a podcast of, well, this week's episode is about Suitable for Framing, starring Ross Martin and Kim Hunter. And in this episode, this isn't NPR. And we actually, the whole sarcasm and the asides, it's kind of sort of on purpose. That's the point. That's our charm, if you will.
That's charming.
It's supposed to be like as if we're sitting in a bar talking about Columbo, not an academic discussion of
oh, sure, that's out there. I mean, isn't it the One More Thing? Aren't they more like that?
They know a little bit more about the stars and the actors and stuff and their background, but they may not go so much into the detail of like the clues and stuff. Mm-hmm. But and that's neither good nor bad. I mean, that doesn't make them better or worse than us.
That's just how they want to do their thing.
Exactly, and then it's totally fine. And if you don't like it, fine. Go listen to the Scottish Columbo podcast, which is called the Columbo podcast, by the way. You didn't have to call it the Scottish Columbo podcast. You can just say, oh, but he had to because they were from Scotland and not from L.A. But,
yeah, how dare they? So do we have any other feedback that we can kind of wash the palate out with some maybe nice water?
No. I'm going to wash it down with some Shinerbach Strawberry Blonde Ale, though.
Barf. That sounds horrible. All right,
it's really
so
good.
We're doing. Is it the Wigan Wheel?
It's the Wigan Wheel of the '90s.
All right,
Steve.
Actually, I quite enjoyed the negative feedback. It is fun. It really is. I'm not trying to be an ass, but I actually am smiling during the whole thing.
We're not like really pissed off or anything. I mean, we've got a 4.9 rating on iTunes. But if you're going to leave negative feedback, perhaps email it to us, and then we'll make fun of you that way. So it doesn't.
But no, it's fine.
And by the way, if you're enjoying this, and I know that there's we've got 16 ratings on iTunes there. If you've been listening to this for now the 25th episode, go out there and leave a rating. Leave a nice rating and say something nice.
Send us an email.
Or send us an email. columboconfab@gmail.com.
Because Sean and I kind of like to circle jerk each other. We like to hear positive stuff too. So
and then I print them and late at night.
Self-pleasing. We're self-pleasing each other.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of pleasing, let's see what '90s episode we're going to watch next.
Oh man, are we back to the '90s?
You have liked every '90s episode we've done.
I know, but really, honestly, my favorites are going to be the earlier stuff, like tonight's episode.
We have not gotten to my favorites of the '90s episodes yet, so
oh really?
Yeah,
sounds interesting. Okay,
all right, so go ahead and give it a spin.
Okie dokie.
All right, so we are going to watch Death Hits the Jackpot, starring Rip Torn.
What?
as a murderous jeweler.
Get out! Oh no! Oh, is he his typical personality? Please let that be.
I don't know what Rip Torn's typical personality is.
Is he the guy that pulls out like handkerchiefs and stuff with a crazy mustache?
No. You're thinking of Rip. Although I would love to see this. You're thinking of
it's not him.
No. No, Rip Torn, has been in nothing else that I can remember off the top of my head. I think he was on, what was that show on HBO? He won an Emmy for it. But anyway, yeah, he's in it. I can't remember who else is in it, but I'm going to tell you this. Columbo speaks Italian in it.
Oh,
So-
I love it when he goes back to his roots.
Yeah. So, and there's also a monkey in it. So, although there was a monkey in this last episode, but it was. And also, I'm just for the record. Today we talked about the episode with the shortest amount of time between start time and murder. I think this might be the episode with the longest amount of time between the start of the episode.
Does that mean we don't see Columbo as quickly?
That is correct, but that's okay. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay. It's all right. So, Death Hits the Jackpot is going to be next, starring Rip Torn. Who's the guy with the confetti?
I don't know. That's what
I want to say Rip Van Winkle, but it's
it's a Rip Taylor.
Rip Taylor. That's it. Rip Taylor.
Why couldn't it be Rip Taylor? That would be automatically my favorite Columbo.
And he plays like
episode.
he could be like a murderous like nightclub performer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So all right. So be prepared for that. And this ends this season of the Columbo Confab podcast, which means that we're going to go away for a little while and watch 5 more episodes and record them and edit them and then bring you more. But for now, for a short time, hopefully, we're going to say adios. Thank you for listening to the Columbo Confab podcast. To email us with a comment or question, write to columboconfab@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @columboconfab and look for us on Facebook. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us some happy reviews on iTunes.
I love clues.
Hello, I'm Sean, and I'm the host of the 1001 Movies podcast, based on the book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. Each episode, I randomly pick a film from the book and spend about 10 minutes talking about its director, the cast, the genre, and my personal thoughts on the merits of the film. Each delicious yet bite-sized episode contains information about a film from practically any genre, any country, or any year. Check us out on iTunes and we'll send you free cookies. Some restrictions apply.